Welcome to another episode of Your Money, Your Life, our personal finance podcast focused on improving your life through financial wellness, brought to you by Black Enterprise Digital. I'm your host, of course, Alfred Edmond Jr. On each episode of Your Money, Your Life, we address the topics and issues that you deal with every day as you strive to make the most of your money and your life. Via discussions and insights with the top experts on everything from decoding your financial behaviors and achieving financial freedom to conquering debt and creating a legacy of multi-generational wealth. We all want to do that. On this edition of Your Money, Your Life, we'll address a topic that is likely close to the heart of anyone who hopes to make a contribution and a difference and an impact to the world: protecting your financial wellness while supporting the causes you believe in. Our guest expert for this edition is the perfect person for this conversation: attorney, advocate, author, and media expert Areva Martin, who's the author of a couple of books for the purposes of this conversation, The Everyday Advocate, How to Stand Up for Your Autistic Child. Welcome to the show, Areva, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Glad to have an opportunity to meet you and talk to your listeners and your viewers.
So before we get started on today's topic, please share with our listeners what exciting things you're up to right now. How's your financial life going?
Well, I am super excited right now. I'm working on a couple of projects, a couple of media projects that I'm excited about, hoping to get sold and get off the ground, but also working on a tech venture. I've taken the work that I've been doing in the special needs community through my nonprofit Special Needs Network. I've been providing some direct services to individuals with behavioral health and autism challenges, and I'm working with some tech entrepreneurs to scale that project to create a dimensional, comprehensive tech platform where individuals with behavioral health and autism can come together, can find advice and comfort and share information. So I'm hoping to launch that early next year and add to my list of titles tech entrepreneur with this new startup.
You know, that's one of the things I was so happy to get you on the show, because you've done a really great job of leveraging, we talk about time, ties, and talents between being an attorney, a branding and media expert. Your other book really focuses on how to manage media, not just someone who appears on camera, but understands the strategy and the techniques and the skills behind that. Your nonprofit and your cause-related expertise, and now you're adding tech. Talk about, as we go into this topic of supporting causes you believe in, how you've kind of harnessed, in a way, very holistically, everything that you are to bring to bear what you're trying to accomplish.
So this is a great question, and you're right, Alfred. My third book, Make It Rain, which I'm so grateful to everyone who helped me make that book a national bestseller. And that book really is about defining your brand and then thinking about all those things that you can do, with that brand. And for me, my nonprofit really is foundational, because one of my titles is advocate, and through that foundation, I get to advocate for individuals with special needs. And now I'm taking that work that I've been doing in the nonprofit space and using it to create a for-profit company. And nonprofits are just a perfect vehicle for individuals who want to give back to their community, want to make a difference, leave a legacy. A 501c3 nonprofit gives you an opportunity to do that. You get to, do good in the community, create jobs, which I've been able to do through my nonprofit. Started with no employees. Now we have over 150 employees. I'm able to donate money through the nonprofit to other nonprofits who are doing good work as well. So, and let's face it, African Americans are the most generous and philanthropic people on the planet. We don't often think of ourselves as that way, but we really are. Because think about where we give most of our money to, and it's the Black church. And Black churches are 501c3, or most of them, organizations. So I think it's important that we know when we talk about philanthropy and giving in our community and what it means to be a philanthropist. It's not just for the mega rich. You don't have to have millions and millions of dollars to donate to charities.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into that a little bit more deeply, but before we do that, tell me about your personal story and why you chose this particular path and the cause that you believe in. What was the emotion and the passion that drove you down this particular purpose?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that I'm an attorney, so I was a traditional trial attorney, civil rights attorney, going to court, trying cases, doing what civil rights attorneys do. And then my third child was diagnosed with autism, and it was really my son's autism diagnosis, and my family struggled trying to get him the best medical and education on the help that he needed, which really led me into the autism field. I had been representing clients in the disability space through my civil rights practice, but really my son's autism just thrusted me into the whole world of disability rights and became for me more than just a cause in terms of helping my son, but trying to help kids in underserved communities throughout California and now the nation. Really, I recognized that I had so many more assets and so many more relationships and connections and things that the average person didn't have, given my, fact that I had gone to Harvard, my husband had gone to Harvard. So we had stuff that we could share with other people, and that's really what led me into the field of behavioral health, autism, and becoming an advocate. And writing my book, The Everyday Advocate, was my way of giving back and sharing what I had learned through my own journey as a parent and as a civil rights attorney, navigating the systems of care. I wanted to give something back, and it was through that book, and it was through the founding of Special Needs Network, my nonprofit.
Yeah, I tell people you find your real purpose when that purpose comes home to your house.
Yes. And sometimes it comes knocking on that door with a big, loud bang. So that's how I always tell people I wasn't looking to become an autism advocate. Autism found me.
So let's take a moment for our audience to process all these excellent insights. We'll be right back with more from Areva Martin.
2020 marks the 15th anniversary of the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, hosted by ADP, where executive women of color, business leaders, and entrepreneurs share their incredible journey to help you succeed with yours.
Every single day I wake up, I hustle.
Join us March 5th through the 8th at the Mirage in Las Vegas. For more information, log on to blackenterprise.com/WPS. Be there.
Welcome back to Your Money, Your Life. I'm your host, Alfred Edmond Jr., with attorney, advocate, and author, and soon-to-be tech entrepreneur. Well, she's already a tech entrepreneur. We just don't know it yet. Areva Martin, talking about supporting the causes you believe in while protecting your financial wellness. So, Areva, you kind of touched on things that really relates directly to this topic, whether it's setting up a 501c3, whether it's acknowledging the the cultural instinct toward philanthropy that exists in the Black community. And by the way, study after study has reinforced and confirmed what you've said. And even if you take out money contributed to churches, African Americans contribute a higher per capita percentage of their income toward charitable causes than other groups in America. So you're right, the instinct is there. We have a cultural instinct is to make a difference for others because we have a there but for the grace of God go I kind of mindset in the Black community. But what are the practical steps that you learned and that you recommend to others who really want to make a difference, but do it with a certain mindfulness about their own financial health?
Well, one of the things that I learned, Alfred, was that you can create, as I mentioned, this vehicle, the 501c3 vehicle, and it's a perfect vehicle if you want to do, you want to support a cause, whether it's cancer-related causes or leukemia. There's so many causes out there, so many great organizations, and a 501c3 vehicle allows you to accept, as you know, contributions, donations, and the individual donors are able to receive, there's a tax-exempt status, so they're able to receive a charitable deduction on their tax returns, although the tax laws have been changed recently, and some would argue that it makes it more difficult for individuals to give. But the giving in this country, as you said, and particularly African Americans, continues to be robust, and we see African Americans contributing a great deal to charities. I would tell someone, whether you're setting up a 501c3 yourself or you're looking to donate to one, do your homework. Vetting is incredibly important. Yes. I tell people, don't start a charity because you're looking to get rich. That's not what you do. A 501c3 is not the vehicle through which you are going to get rich. You're going to be governed by both federal and state laws with that tax-exempt status. You're going to be governed by a board of directors. Even as a founder, you may draw a salary, but it is not your business. It's not your personal piggy bank. And we've seen recently someone that sits in the White House who had a charity who was using that charity for their own personal goods and personal gain and benefit. And look who came knocking on the door was the state attorney in the state of New York saying, no, you violated the state laws as it relates to a charitable organization. So you will be governed by lots of laws, and you need to know those laws, be very familiar with them. And likewise, if you're giving money to charities, check them out. Because as many great charities as there are out there, and there are tons of them, there are some that are not doing the kind of work that you may think they're doing. And when you look at their 990s, which is the tax returns that charities have to file, you would be surprised about how little money is actually going to the stated purpose of the charity and how much money is going to what's called administration. And that can be a catch-all for high salaries for the executives, for expensive travel and all kinds of things that are not what you want to donate your money to. So I just tell people, be savvy, be wise, and be thoughtful in terms of how you spend your money.
You make some excellent points, and a great resource for givers is a charity navigator, which looks at charities and scores them based on what percentage of the money actually goes to the cause versus administration. So that homework is important. But you're leading to just one of the points I'm always stressing on this topic, which is you should plan whatever your charitable giving is going to be the same way you plan the rest of your budget. It helps you to say no when you need to say no, because if you really know where your charitable money is going, then you're intentional. And there, a lot of times, particularly in the Black community, because again, we are in a way philanthropic by nature, we kind of just give off the fly. We're not keeping track of it. We don't necessarily capture the tax benefit, and but if you have an intentional, this is what I budgeted for, this is what I'm going to use it for, this is the cause I'm going to support, this is what's going to go to the church, whatever your thing is, it makes you more efficient, and it makes your charitable dollars go a much longer way.
And that's so important, Alfred. I'm in a kind of a building fund phase with my nonprofit. We are building a big clinic in Los Angeles, and we have a whole naming rights campaign. And one of the things we're educating our donors about is the ability to do planned giving. Yes. So as you do your estate planning, as you think about, and in our community, we don't want to talk about it, but we all going to transition. As we all transition.
But we can do so much good if we really think about that.
So much good we can do. You can, put charities in your life insurance plans. You can put charities in your will. You can put them in your trust. You can plan to have your legacy preserved through a large charitable gift. And we have a couple. They've Dr. Ruth and Ludlow Creary. They've been big supporters of Special Needs Network, and that's exactly what they're doing. They are giving us a planned gift as a part of our naming rights campaign. So they're going to name the lobby of this new center we're building after their family foundation, but it's through a planned gift. And that's your point about planning your charitable donations is so critical. Year to year, you should sit down in your budget, just like you're planning how much you're going to spend on your rent, how much you're going to spend on your transportation costs, your food costs. There should be a line item so that you don't find yourself, whether it's in a church or at a gala, and someone gets up and says, who wants to give $1,000? And we've seen this before, and everybody's hand goes up, and then you get home thinking,
right, where am I going to pull that from?
About that $1,000.
It was nice to make the pledge when I was excited.
You put yourself in a really precarious situation, and also that organization, because a lot of times those pledges that you see people make publicly, guess what? They never get made.
Right.
So you don't want to be that person that's raising your hand because you feel some pressure, or there's public pressure, or you want to get some name recognition, because you just want to be with the giving crowd. You want to plan your gift. So if you haven't budgeted that $1,000, don't feel compelled to raise your hand when the pastor says, I need somebody to give an extra $1,000. If you don't have it, you don't have it to give, and you don't want to make a pledge that you can't make good on.
And even
that's
if it's
not good.
And even if it's not, in the context of being in a church or whatever, my thing is it's been very empowering to me over the last 30 years when I finally got it that I should plan this stuff out. Yeah, every cause is worthy, but you can't support every cause.
Yes.
But sometimes out of guilt, and I'll tell you, if it's out of guilt, it's not out of love. You just feel like you got to pull money out of your pocket. But if you say, no, I plan my charitable giving, I've chosen my causes for the year, then you can say no without feeling guilty. You'll know you're making a contribution. You know that because you have it planned and documented. And so again, you're more efficient. You know you're making an impact. You can measure that impact, and you don't put your financial wellness at risk.
No, excellent point. And I tell people, find a couple of charities and go deep with those charities.
Yes, go deep, not wide.
So rather than $1 here and $1 there, if it's a charity that's really doing good work, they need, donors that they can count on year in and year out. And that's one way that you can become really even more involved than just the donations. I tell people, volunteer.
Yes.
Nonprofits need volunteers, and we count on, volunteer hours to get, the work done of the charity. So there's so many ways that you can give. And when you become a big donor to a charity, you get to have sometimes some say in what that charity does in terms of how its resources are spent, the programs that they work on, and the good that they do in a particular community. And you may get your name, on a building or on a wall, and that shouldn't be the reason you're doing it, but, that's one of the added benefits.
What I found from other people that who are like you, often they're not trying to get their name on the building; they're getting their mom's name on the building, or somebody, an ancestor who
somebody's
died, or
their legacy,
absolutely
acknowledge them. There's so many ways, and I'm just so glad to see that in our community we're talking about charitable giving, because oftentimes it's not a conversation that you hear African Americans engage in, even though we're giving the money.
Right.
We're just
We're
not
just
sitting
not
down
talking
about it.
Right.
So these kinds of conversations are so important.
Listen, Areva, thank you so much for being on the show. We could do another hour on this. You guys have a wealth of knowledge and information. But listen, thank you for being a guest on Your Money, Your Life.
Thank you.
And check out the podcast channel at blackenterprise.com to find Your Money, Your Life and other podcasts from Black Enterprise, editors, writers, and experts. Also be sure to subscribe to Your Money, subscribe to Your Money, Your Life on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, leave a 5-star review. This is Alfred Edmond Jr. with Your Money, Your Life for blackenterprise.com.